Some of them don't even have clothes to wear. And what happens is these slave masters go over to the villages and they lie to the parents and they say, we will give your child an education. We will take care of them. And the parents say, okay, and then the slave masters get the children out onto the lake. And what happens is that sometimes, well, it's just a lot of work. Those slave masters need to go to jail, but it takes a huge team of people to get them there. And there's a organization called International Justice Mission, which we're going to hear about more today, that actually does help get the slave masters to jail and helps them. That is what will make them stop from taking more slaves. So, I don't know. Where are you, Janae? There you are.
Okay, are we ready?
Yeah.
So we are going to go back 2 years ago to the very first investigation on Lake Volta. So in July of 2013, IJM sent 2 undercover investigators to check out the problem of slavery on Lake Volta. So they spent 16 days around the lake and they saw hundreds of children working on fishing boats on the lake. There were 2 kinds of children there. Some of the children had clothes and were well fed and they had healthy bodies. And they were smiling. These kids were the children of families who fished on the lake and they were cared for by their parents. But some of the children were not smiling. They looked sick, too thin, and when the investigators came near, they did not make eye contact. They had scars on their bodies from their injuries. They had little or no clothing, and some were crying, and these children were the slaves. There was one teenage boy, and we're going to call him Gabriel, although that's not his real name. And he was approached by the IJM investigators, and Gabriel begged them to rescue him. He told them that he gets beaten every day by his owner. And there was a 5-year-old boy with him. And he begged the IJM investigators, do not leave us with that man. He is wicked. Do not leave us. The IJM investigator, his code name is V, explained that leaving Gabriel that day was the single hardest assignment he has had with IJM. But it was impossible for them to rescue Gabriel that day. If they had, it could have ruined future rescues of more boys on the lake. IJM had to get their offices and team in place, and they needed cooperation from the government before they could rescue a single boy.
Imagine how sad they felt when they drove away and they left those boys with that man.
V and the rest of the IJM team back in Washington, D.C. never forgot Gabriel. In fact, it spurred them on to work even harder to get things ready in Ghana. For 2 years, they worked hard. They were committed to Gabriel and the 1,000 other slaves on the lake. But then last summer, our book club played a big part in helping IJM.
Now, I don't have Legos for this part. You know why? Because you guys are the minifigures. You're the people. So listen to this part and think about what you have done to help.
Last summer, we raised over $2,000 for IJM by selling Freedom Friends and telling people about our book club. And that money went to help set up an office in Ghana and other work IJM does around the world to free slaves. And we did something else. Listen to this, something that might be even bigger than that $2,000.
Everybody put your eyes on Janae right now, because she's going to tell you something you might not know.
After book club was over last summer, Ben and Sam and Jack and Ellie wrote letters to V and his partner who were back in Washington, D.C. And we included a link to our book club's YouTube video about slavery in Ghana. Have you guys seen that with the shadow puppets that talked about Ghana last summer? And we told them how we raised money for them and we prayed for them. And a few days later, we heard back from them. They wrote us back and told us that our letters and the work that our book club did encouraged them during a very dark and hard time.
See how happy they were?
Going to Ghana and seeing the slaves but not being able to help right away was very hard and discouraging. And our book club encouraged them and helped them keep working even when they were sad and felt like things would never get better. and they wanted to meet us. So in October, the Lawson family who made that video and Ellie and Jack met up in front of a laptop here at home, and we Skyped with a reporter from IJM in Washington, D.C. That means she was looking at her computer in Washington, D.C., and we were looking at our computer here in Washington State, and we could see and talk to each other. And guess who showed up on the screen? the IJM investigator who met Gabriel. We could only see him from the neck down because he is undercover. His job is very secret.
You can't even see what his face looks like.
And he told us thank you for our letters, for our book club's hard work, and for our prayers. So you can see how what we are doing here is making a difference. You kids are making a difference in the life of real live justice fighters and are helping bring about the rescue of slaves. So next week, next time we meet, we will tell you about what happened when IJM completed its team in Ghana and went out for the first rescue operation on the lake. And you might even hear about Gabriel again. Okay? That's the end for today.
I'm going to leave these Legos out if anyone wants to look at them and kind of play with them.
You accidentally took some of our